It's been a busy year for the royal family as King Charles III embraces his first year of the reign.
And last night, we were given a rare glimpse behind palace walls. Did you watch the documentary? It was a look into the rehearsals for last May the 6th coronation.
Yeah, it was very good. Now let's take a look at the Prince of Wales and his family joining the King and Queen to rehearse the complex and ancient ceremony. Let's take a listen.
The Prince of Wales has a key role in the coronation.
Yes, of course. Yeah, wow, look at that food.
This is a chance for the Prince to support the King as he prepares for his big day.
I think what struck me particularly is how extraordinarily affectionate they are. They're clearly a very close family, you know, of all the generations. And in a sense, you felt you're part of a family occasion as well as, you know, a royal occasion and a national occasion.
Well, there seemed to be a lot of genuine warmth there. Let's chat a little bit more about this with historian and royal commentator Rafe Hadel-Mancu. Very good morning to you, Rafe. Thanks for joining us. It'll be interesting to see how that documentary rates, won't it? Because the King's Christmas Day message topped the TV ratings. Nearly 6 million viewers tuned in. So it does seem like people have still got a lot of time for the royals.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And in fact, last year's Christmas message that he gave broke all records for the 21st century, with over 8 million watching. So there's very clear evidence that the King's succession has gone very well indeed. I think he'll be very happy with the reception to his King's speech on various levels. And as you say, with this documentary yesterday, which I think showed, you know, the true nature of the King and Queen behind all that sort of formality. We're very used to these types of BBC documentaries. Even during the Queen's reign, we saw a more informal side to Her Majesty in her documentaries. But I think this went a step further in sort of in candour and informality, and reflects, I think, the character of His Majesty, who we know has a great sense of humour, and also of Queen Camilla, who is the most down-to-earth and approachable member of the royal family. So there were some lovely little scenes there. The King holding up his robes like wings and saying, "I can fly." The Queen referring to the page boys with her as, you know, "Here I am with the lads." And I think that sort of reflects each monarch has to put their own stamp on the monarchy and set the tone for the new reign. And I think we're getting a good glimpse of the King here, respecting all the formality of the coronation and so forth, but also realising the monarchy has to modernise to be relevant to the 21st century.
Rafe, following what's been, some would argue, 2 years of attacks from Harry and Meghan when it comes to the monarchy and Charles, is this a bit of a PR win, this documentary? As you said, showing the lighter side of the King and actually rebutting claims in Harry's book that his father, when he was a child anyway, things could have changed, but that his father was quite cold and unaffectionate, because we saw in the documentary some really heartwarming scenes of Charles embracing Prince Louis and Prince George and giving them a peck on the cheek before the coronation.
Yes, absolutely right. You know, there were two PR camps in the 1990s. There was Diana's PR camp and the Prince of Wales's PR camp. Diana was far more effective at getting over that idea that she was the loving, doting mother. The King wasn't as good at doing that, even though he actually was. He was so hands-on with his children, and I think, you know, we're seeing with the way he interacts with his grandkids also, and the genuine love and warmth he has around his son too. The true essence of the King. And you're quite right. This has been a good PR move for the King because, you know, the first year, as I said, of the King's reign is his chance to show the nation and the Commonwealth what type of a monarch he'll be. And I think this documentary does in a good way summarise this year. We've seen a foreign state visit by the President of Korea. President Biden's arrived here. We've seen the King win over the French and the Germans with those terrific visits to Germany, where he impressed them with his knowledge of German, and in France, where he received a huge standing ovation from the French Assembly, and also as head of the Commonwealth, going for the first time to a Commonwealth nation as sovereign, going to Kenya, where, of course, there were big issues about Britain and the Marlborough Uprising, and we saw that he was every bit a worthy successor to his mother in the way that he diplomatically handled that and won the respect of the Kenyans.
Do you think, Rafe, that being as it's nearly 4 years since Harry and Meghan stepped down as working royals, that really we should just stop talking about them as much. You know, they always crop up in every conversation we have. And don't get me wrong, yes, they're fascinating. Yes, there are a lot of headlines that they have, you know, carefully curated for themselves. But it is nearly 4 years now.
Yes, I'd like nothing better than to stop talking about Harry and Meghan. Unfortunately, I'm always asked to speak about them. But you're quite right here. You know, the Harry and Meghan's fame relates to their proximity to the royal family. And the further away they get from the royal family and the more time that elapses between their last contact with the royal family, the less relevant they are. And we're seeing the effects of that now in America, of course, where we've seen their poll ratings take a nosedive. They're becoming increasingly irrelevant, and I think it's time we all woke up to that fact and actually focus on the positivity around the monarchy, which is one of the few institutions left in this country, along with the military, with our armed forces, that actually serves as a way to unite us. And I think we can, most of us at least, can agree that it's a good thing for the country.
Yeah, some would argue that they are talked about so much because they pose a threat to the monarchy like never before. Some accuse Harry, or at least Meghan, of wanting to bring down the monarchy. Yeah, it remains to be seen what happens on that front. But I do agree it would be nice to hear a lot less of the Sussexes indeed. Historian and royal commentator Rafe Haydel Manku, thank you very much for your time.